March 27, 1977, a quiet airport on the island of Tenerife would become the scene of the deadliest disaster in aviation history, not because of terrorism, not because of engine failure, but because of confusion, fear, and one terrible misunderstanding. Earlier that day, a bomb explosion at another airport forced several aircraft to divert to a small airport in Tenerife. Among them were two massive Boeing 747s. One belonged to KLM, the other belonged to Pan Am. Together, both aircraft carried more than 600 people. The airport was overcrowded. Aircraft were parked everywhere. Pilots were frustrated. Passengers were tired. And then the weather began changing. Thick fog slowly covered the runway. Visibility dropped lower and lower. Soon, pilots could barely see ahead of them. But despite the dangerous conditions, flights continued, preparing for departure. Inside the KLM cockpit sat Captain Jacob Van Zanten, one of the airline's most experienced pilots. Calm, respected, confident. But investigators later believed pressure and stress were building. Inside the cockpit, air traffic control instructed the Pan Am aircraft to taxi down the runway and exit using a taxiway. At the same time, the KLM aircraft prepared for takeoff on that exact same runway. Because of the fog, neither aircraft could see each other. Then came the moment that changed aviation forever. The KLM captain pushed the throttles forward. The giant Boeing 747 began accelerating down the runway. Faster, faster, faster. But the Pan Am aircraft was still on the runway. Inside the Pan Am cockpit, the crew suddenly saw lights appearing through the fog. At first, they couldn't understand what they were seeing. Then they realized something horrifying. Another Boeing 747 was racing directly toward them. The Pan Am captain screamed, "There he is, look at him." The pilots desperately tried turning off the runway, but it was too late. Inside the KLM cockpit, the crew suddenly saw the Pan Am aircraft emerging from the fog. The captain immediately pulled back hard on the controls, trying to lift off early. The nose rose into the air. The aircraft almost escaped, but not completely. At over 250 kilometers per hour, the bottom of the KLM aircraft slammed into the top of the Pan Am jet. The explosion was catastrophic. Fire erupted instantly. Metal ripped apart across the runway. Passengers had almost no time to react. The KLM aircraft crashed back onto the runway and exploded into flames. Everyone on board was killed instantly. On the Pan Am aircraft, some passengers survived the initial impact. Survivors crawled through smoke and fire, searching for exits in complete darkness. Some jumped from the burning aircraft onto the runway below. In total, 583 people lost their lives, making Tenerife Airport disaster the deadliest accident in aviation history. Investigators later discovered that the crash was caused by multiple small mistakes.